What up, everybody? Mm, This is yours truly, Rama Screen, covering movies, TV, and entertainment. I was actually in the middle of preparing my reviews from my reviews of the movies that I saw at South by Southwest this past week. The Highwayman, The Art of Self Defense. When I was trying to pick the right words for it, like the right vocabularies to describe how I feel about the films, and voila, all of a sudden this news hit the web, and I was like, okay, I gotta stop right now, drop what it is that I do, preparing my review and all, pause, hit the pause button, and just do this quick live stream review because I'm so excited at the news that James Gunn has been reinstated, that's right, rehired as the writer director of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Oh, so good. Now, so good. Just a refresher, last July during Comic Con, I mean, I remember it vividly, man. I was in the middle of Voltron press room interviewing the stars, and then the news hit the phones, right? Everybody was like looking at their tweets, like, holy crap, James Gunn has been fired. And If you recall, Disney and Marvel Studios made that announcement that they fired James Gunn from his directing and writing duties of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 over his old tweets from around 2008 through 2011. So yeah, more or less a decade ago. And he did tweet some terrible stuff about pedophilia and rape, and he joked about those subjects, and it's like, and in my editorial video at that time, I did not, and I still do not, defend what he said. His tweets are terrible. They were, if anything, James Gunn is guilty of being a terrible joke teller. That's the way I think some people out there also put it down. But he never acted on any of his tweets. It's just when it comes to jokes, like for example, Kevin Hart. Remember Kevin Hart? He got in trouble also this past fall for his crappy jokes about LGBTQ community back a decade ago, and that resulted in him withdrawing from his Oscar hosting duty. Um, yeah, no defense there either. No defense there either. But as I mentioned before, when it comes to comedy, when it comes to jokes, um, there are many occasions when the jokes don't hit the target, the jokes don't land, or the jokes are just straight up not funny. Maybe in the mind of Kevin Hart or James Gunn when they wrote or when they tweeted those, like, "Oh my God, this is hysterical. This cracks me up." But they're the only ones who think those tweets are funny. So anyway, back to the refresher. So that was also a few months after Disney fired Roseanne Barr for racist tweets, racial slur. And Gunn is no stranger to controversy. He previously had to apologize back in 2011. No, he previously apologized for his 2011 blog that was deemed sexist and homophobic. Um, and after that, after the firing, the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy, including Dave Batista is the most outspoken of them all about, like, oh my God, I will not come back to play Drax if you don't rehire James Gunn. So they signed, they got together, they have this signed open letter to Disney, but Disney stuck to their guns. Says like, no, we're not gonna rehire him. And so James Gunn moved on, right? So he's also signed on to write and direct Suicide Squad 2, which is simply titled The Suicide Squad. Oddly enough. So what's gonna happen, Rama? What's gonna happen with that project? Well, he's still going to write and direct Suicide Squad sequel. All right. So that's still not gonna change. Um, what will happen is, according to Deadline here, um, Marvel and Disney will put Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 on hold until James Gunn has finished or completed Suicide Squad's sequel. And then he's gonna come back to into Disney fold to direct Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We don't know the timetable. We don't know when the movie will be released. Now there's no release date, but that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna finish Suicide Squad 2, and then he's gonna come do the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Which, by the way, he had already written a script for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That's the one that Dave Bautista kind of, used as a threat. Like, hey, if you don't use, I think he told Disney and Marvel not too long ago, it's like, hey, if you guys don't end up using James Gunn's script for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I'm going to walk. So there's not going to be trouble anymore now on that front because, yeah, he had written the script. And according to Deadline, Marvel confirms that yes, that script will be used for the film. So James Gunn doesn't have to start from scratch. He just has to pick up where he left off. Maybe he just has to do some revisions or some rewriting, but the script will be used. And also, what's interesting, according to this report on Deadline, is that the reason why Disney ultimately or eventually decided to rehire James Gunn is because Walt Disney Studio chairman Alan Horn had met with James Gunn multiple times on multiple occasions to discuss this whole situation since July. And it seems that Alan Horn had been pretty impressed with not only Gunn's public apology, but also with Gunn's handling of the whole situation. So much so that Horn decided to, hey, you know what? It's all cool now. You are remorseful. You are regretful about what you tweeted, and you've done all you can to make sure to let everybody know, to let the whole world know, including us, Disney, that you are not the same person that you were 10 years ago when it comes to jokes. Yeah, come back. We'll have you back. So my thoughts about this, I'm first of all, I'm excited, right? I'm happy. James Gunn. I think the same thing I mentioned to you about Kevin Hart. Like, again, when it comes to jokes, the comedy is relative. It's really hard to judge. Like, somebody like a friend of mine would be very offended by South Park. He would be very offended because he's very conservative, and his brand of humor is nothing like what South Park offers. But I find South Park very hysterical. It's level playing field. They make fun of everybody, every religion, every bad, good, drug users, non-drug users. You get made fun of by South Park. So, and it gets bloody and it gets crude. It gets, Cartman, of course, with his sexist, misogynistic approach. Like, but at the end of every episode, there's always a lesson to be learned, if you will, that kind of shoots down Cartman's sexist, misogynistic, homophobic, and racial slurs. So, but I get it. When it comes to humor and comedy, people's sense or taste in comedy are different, man. What I think is funny, you may not think is funny. What James Gunn thinks is funny, I may not think it's funny. So I think what he tweeted is terrible. I think what Kevin Hart tweeted is terrible. But do I think that they deserve to not have a job? No, because they're not Harvey Weinstein. They're not Kevin Spacey. It seems that we often, I that's the dangerous part. We should not use this very productive movement that we're in and the era of Me Too and Time's Up. We should not weaponize it to just crucify just about. We should not weaponize it to crucify anybody willy nilly. You know where I'm getting at? Because if you use it for that purpose, then you minimize or diminish the importance of that movement. And so, especially with regards to James Gunn, if you dig the reports, you'll find out that the people that dig up all his old tweets are actually alt right wingers that they notice that James Gunn is anti-Trump, and James Gunn has tweeted many anti-Trump stuffs before, and they want to bring James Gunn down because, oh my God, you are insulting our dear leader Trump. So I think his name is the douchebag's name is, I think it's Mike Cernovich. Um, so yeah, if Disney, I get it. They want to protect their brand. The brand is family friendly brand, and I totally get it. Um, that's why I don't fully blame their decision for firing James Gunn. But the optics is also bad because it seems that Disney cowers to alt right, because it's alt right that wants to, like, the same alt right that brings up old tweet by Sam Cedar and misconstrue it so that MSNBC fired Sam Cedar. Those of you, my fellow political junkies, would know what I'm talking about. So that's the optics. What I'm talking about. If Disney fired James Gunn because of what alt right did to James Gunn, then it's a victory to alt right. You know what I'm getting at with that. So we can't give these terrible people an ounce of satisfaction. And so, because we're already living in a very divisive world as it is, man. And I'm glad that Disney rehired James Gunn. It does goes to show there are second chances. There is redemption, even in real life, not just in the movies. And we should not lump these people in one category. Oh my God, dude, put them in the doghouse or career jail, just like Harvey Weinstein and Louis C.K. and all those guys. And it's like, no, you gotta meet them case by cases. There are nuances to every situation, and I think in this case, I'm glad that James Gunn got rehired. And also, by the way, I mentioned in my video last year, I was like, dude, you should know who you hired, Disney. I mean, like, you hired James Gunn. James Gunn came from an R-rated background, right? What's his movies in the past? Super, remember that, with Rainn Wilson, and then he also made Slither with Elizabeth Banks, and he also made PG porn for Funny or Die. That's the world that he came from. That's his background, and so, and even Guardians of the Galaxy Volume One, the movie, freaking Star Lord has that joke about um insinuating or suggesting that he had sex with so many aliens that if you have a CSI light on, it'll be like a James Pollock painting up in that space, up in that ship. Remember that joke? It'll be like the James Pollock painting. It's like, dude, that's an adult joke right there. So how family friendly can Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 be? So Volume 2, Volume 1, 2, 3 be? So yeah, I think there's a lot of self introspection to go around, and I'm glad that Disney rehired James Gunn, and I'm sure the entire cast is happy because they want James Gunn to be back. And last but not least, the outlet also says that rumors about Marvel and Disney considering Taika Waititi and Adam McKay for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, those rumors were never true. Marvel and Disney never actually approached either one of those two guys to replace James Gunn. So I'm glad we've come to this. Um, I guess this point of the development of that project, because I would hate for because Disney should already learn their lesson from when Ron Howard replaced Phil Lord and Chris Miller on that Solo: A Star Wars Story. Look what happened. Solo: A Star Wars Story is the worst performing, I guess, a terrible box office performing um, Star Wars movie ever. So there is a downside to just replacing a creative person when, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm glad James Gunn is back, and I can't wait to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and I can't wait to see the Suicide Squad or the Suicide Squad sequel as well. So, what do you guys think? Are you as happy as I am about this news? Um, Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe, ring the bell, like this video, and help support this channel at patreon.com/ramascreen. Okay, I'm going back to preparing my reviews now. Let's wrap this.